6:30 a.m.
Thank you very much. 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. Just take a look outside. Isn't that a beautiful day out there? Do you have any plans for the weekend?
Just whatever projects we're doing. That's my plan.
Whatever we're doing.
Yeah, whatever projects
What are we
we're
doing?
I have no clue.
We don't know what we're doing.
I have no clue. No. But I had an adventure last night.
What'd you have?
Oh, well, I got home. I went to see my mom. We played cards and stuff. And then I got home. I turned off of 200, my left turn by my convenience store.
Yeah.
And there was this man. I mean, he was an older gentleman. He was in the road in the lane I was going to turn in with his flashlight. I was thinking, oh, he must be in trouble. So I whipped into the convenience store and walked over to him, and he had lost his dimes. His dimes. He had a huge Tupperware container, which was like the size of 2 sandwich containers that you put your sandwich in. You'd stack it on top of one another.
Right.
Well, 2 of those. That's how big the container was. And he said he had left his house, and he was doing. I don't know what he was doing with the dimes, but he accidentally left this container on the hood of his truck. And when he turned the corner, it came flying off, and it opened up, and all these dimes were in the road and the grass.
Oh, wow.
So he was standing there with the flashlight, and I was in the street helping pick up these dimes. and then this lady comes up in her car going the opposite way, and she says, well, I didn't want you to get hit, so I called the 911. So then the sheriff pulls up. Nice guy. His name was Marion County Sheriff's Deputy. Phil Peters. Peters, such a nice guy, young guy, such a nice guy. And he said, "What you doing?" So I was telling him, and the guy couldn't help because he's 80 years old. He's only got one lung. He can't bend over because he's got something wrong with his back. So all he could do was hold the flashlight. So the deputy got down on his knees with me, and we're picking up the dimes. And the whole time he said, you could lose your life for dimes. I said, yeah, but nobody was helping this guy. There were 2 guys pumping gas, and you know how close that is to the street.
Right.
And there were people going into the convenience store, and nobody came over to see what he was doing in the street with his flashlight.
Right. But you.
Yeah. So Deputy Peters. So he and I got the dimes up there and stuff. And
you think you got them all?
I don't know. I think he'll probably come back today to look at them. But pretty sure. I mean, you're in the asphalt and everything. They were everywhere. So the poor guy. I don't know what he was doing with the dimes, but. If you see a person in the street with a flashlight at 9:30 at night, stop and find out what's going on.
Some people brag that they can stop on a dime.
Yeah.
You can say you stopped for a dime.
Exactly.
Or 2.
So he'll probably come back today.
Did he tell you how much it was worth? I mean, how many dimes did he have?
No, but I would probably guess there's probably at least $50 there.
$50 in dimes.
In that container. I mean, the stuff the deputy and I, Deputy Peters and I.
So you feel sorry for a guy who loses his dimes, right?
Yeah. Well, and he couldn't bend over. He couldn't, squat. He couldn't anything because he was,
One lung, 80 years old.
Yeah, and he had something wrong with his back, so he.
In the dark.
Yeah. Yeah, so he said he was sorry. He forgot. He got in his truck and just set the container of dimes on the hood because he had to get his
What cost a dime that you would have so many dimes? I mean, I'm trying to think what you would do. It's like Nickelodeon used to be a nickel.
Yeah, exactly.
Slot machines were a quarter. What would you use a dime for? Lots of
phone. A phone used to be
not anymore. Yeah, it used to be a dime.
No, I don't know if it's our phones
Maybe a parking
anymore.
meter. Maybe parking meters.
Parking meters you could put dimes in. Yeah, but he had all these dimes, so I don't know where he was going with them, what he was going to do with them, but I felt sorry for him because the people were 2 men were pumping gas, and they're looking at him. It's like, okay, you just pump your gas, don't come over and help. Females walked into the store, they didn't, nobody.
And where was this again? Females. And where was this again? What? What did I miss there?
On my corner.
Females walking. Okay, that's where I thought it was.
Yeah, by the convenience store on my corner right off of 200. It's
wow.
I felt so bad for him.
Well,
people are so complacent.
For those of you who think we talk before the show, this is evidence we don't. We have no idea what each other's going to talk about.
So, it's the poor guy, So he'll probably go back today just to scope out the area with a friend to see if we got it all. But, we probably missed a few, but I think we got pretty much, his container was almost full. So. Poor guy.
Wow. Yeah.
But, you got to stop when you think.
Can you imagine if he had lost his marbles? You would have just. Can you imagine if it wasn't dimes? I mean, you would be on the floor and the deputy would have come over and he would have
Yeah.
said, "What are you doing?" And you would have said that guy over there lost his marbles. And he would have
Yeah.
looked at you and said, "Looks like you did too."
Exactly. Well, he was chastising me for being on my knees in the street.
But he got on his knees, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Deputy Peters, Marion County. I wonder if he's related to Ashley. I got to ask her.
Is that her last name?
That's her last name too. So, so he'll say, "Boy, you work with a bunch of loonies. They're willing to risk their life for a dime."
It's radio. It's the way it is in radio.
Yeah.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. Several of the places that I worked over the course of my life, we always used to tell a joke about the supervisors. We said that when you joined the company, the director of personnel gave you a bag of marbles, and when you lost all of your marbles, they made you a supervisor.
That's good. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that.
Have a good morning.
See, it is a fun morning. Thank you. It is a fun
Yeah.
morning. All right, so I do have a debatable topic, and it's a Florida topic. So let's look at this, okay?
Okay. I was
All
also wearing a skirt, by the way, yesterday. So, in the street. So, in case anybody's interested in.
Well,
that.
yeah. Now we have a better visual.
Okay, I had to put that in.
All right. Next time I'm helping somebody, I'm going to point out that I was wearing pants. I was on the street, on my knees, wearing pants, helping out some lady.
Yeah, I was wearing a skirt.
All right. So what do you think this guy said when he went home to his wife? Honey, I lost my dimes. You're not going to believe it. Oh, no. You've been saving them for so long. I know. I was going to trade him in for something. And I lost him. Oh, man. And this nice lady helped me. She was on her knees in her skirt. What? You old dirty man. What's the matter with you? Yeah, that's okay. Then this deputy showed up. Oh, you got arrested, didn't you? No, he got on his knees too. What? Was he wearing a skirt? No. A star. He was wearing a star.
Yes, he was.
All right, are you ready?
Yes, I
All
am.
right, here's the debatable thing we're talking about. All right, so the way I understand it, somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right, if you want to disconnect from the electric company. Correct? You can go without electric. You don't have
Yes.
to have electricity,
No,
right? Okay.
no. They will turn you off.
They will
if
turn you
don't pay
off.
Your bill too.
I know.
so-
Well, that's the thing. They will turn you off. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I remember right, when we had hurricanes, when nobody had electricity,
Mm-hmm.
some people had electricity because they had generators.
Yep.
And right after those, now this goes 11 years ago. This was 2004. But if you remember, right after those hurricanes, there were like these home shows, where they would show you the new ceiling fans, the new lighting, and every one of them had a special display for generators, because generators was a big thing after those storms in 2004.
Oh yeah.
Not only were they big, but they were being marketed as a must-have appliance, just like you have a washing machine, a refrigerator. Everybody would have a generator.
They were built into new homes
They
too.
were being built in. You had a special place for them outside in this little covered area. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I don't know how many people actually did this. I don't know if the marketing worked, but that's how they were being marketed, which tells me you have a right to make your own electricity.
Yes.
The way I see it, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, the only way I can think of that is feasible at this point, although I don't know enough about solar power, but I'm getting to that. Trust me, I'm getting to the solar power part of the story. But I think a generator is probably the only feasible way of doing it. And feasible, put that in quotes or italics or whatever, because it's probably more expensive, I would think, than simply paying the electric company, I guess. I mean, I can't imagine gasoline or diesel-powered generator being cheaper than, or even more efficient because of the amount of electricity you would need to run your home, your air conditioning, and everything else. On the other side of the break, I want to tell you about a solar energy battle that is brewing here in Florida.
Wow. This is interesting.
And it has to do with a group trying to get an amendment on the in the Constitution for Florida, and another group trying to prevent it. I'll tell you about that when we come back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident for today. More clouds and sun, along with a couple of heavy thunderstorms around. There can be flooding, downpours, and damaging wind gusts in any thunderstorm today. The high 84 to 88. Tonight, mostly cloudy, warm, and muggy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, some heavy, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, clouds and breaks of sun with a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms. Watch for flooding, high 84 to 88. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for one day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
Are you in need of custom screen printing, embroidery, or promotional items? Then look no further and come visit the brand new Legacy Team Sales. LTS is conveniently located off 17th Street next to Armstrong Homes in beautiful Ocala. We offer the best prices and highest quality products for your company, team, school, or nonprofit. Whether looking for screen printed shirts, embroidered polos, or travel team uniforms, you'll be sure to find it at Legacy Team Sales. Come visit our new 27,000 square foot facility. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff will assist you in every part of your custom purchase. LTS carries the hottest brands in the industry like Under Armour, Russell, Mizuno, Asics, Badger Sports, Gildan, Pacific, Ogio, and many more. At LTS, screen printing embroidery is done in-house and we guarantee customer satisfaction. Stop by, give us a call, or check us out on the web at shoplts.com. Remember the name, LTS.
La Famiglia Pizzeria has moved into Ocala. Stop by today at 2504 Southeast 17th Street and see for yourself what everyone is talking about.
Awesome place. I never get pizza anywhere else.
Great New York style pizza and dishes.
Best pizza in Ocala.
One trip and you'll agree, La Famiglia Pizzeria is the best. La Famiglia Pizzeria. Stop by for a pizza that you'll love or call in and order yours for pickup. 352-245-2419. La Famiglia Pizzeria.
12 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. All right. It's Friday. And we're having fun. We had a lot of fun the first half of this half hour, right? We did pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So this is a debate. Before the break, I was telling you about my thought that I thought we were allowed to make our own electricity if we wanted to.
Right.
Well, anyway, there's a group called Floridians for Solar Choice.
Okay.
And they are backing a constitutional amendment that would allow homeowners and businesses to generate up to 2 megawatts of solar power without government regulation. Now, right there, I don't get this.
No.
When do you need government regulation to generate power in your house? I thought a generator was legal. And so therefore, if a generator is legal, why isn't solar power considered just another type of generator? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought solar panels were legal also.
According to them, the folks at Floridians for Solar Choice, that's what they call themselves, the amendment would allow solar companies to install units and then sell power directly to consumers or to adjacent power owners. Adjacent power owners, okay. Mm-hmm. I guess that would mean like the power company?
Yes.
Currently, power can only be purchased from a regulated utility. That's what it says here. Currently, power can only be purchased from a regulated utility. A second group, I don't know, you want to put the black hat on this one or the other one. A second group called Consumers for Smart Solar is advancing an opposing amendment that would codify the existing practice of allowing consumers to install solar units but only allow sales through regulated utilities.
Oh, gee.
which would mean that either way you're going to have solar power, but one is going to be through your local utility, and one is going to be through Sears or whatever.
Right, a private entity.
Right.
Which is,
So the Solar Choice
Gosh.
Amendment language being presented by the Floridians for Solar Choice must be approved by the state Supreme Court, which will be hearing this or talking about this, hearing about whatever. They heard about it, right? But you know what I mean. On September 1st.
This is very important.
So we're a month and a week away or whatever.
Yeah.
A month and a week away from them talking about this. The major investor-owned utilities are Florida Power and Light, Duke Energy, Tampa Electric Company, and Gulf Power. Mm-hmm. And Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Florida League of Cities all oppose the amendment. They all oppose it, and they want the court to reject it. They oppose the amendment. Supporters include the environmental groups, the Florida League of Women Voters, the Florida Retail Federation, and some and the Christian Coalition of America, as well as individuals. There are plenty of individuals on here too. And how I know that is because they've got so many signatures already. If the court approves the language, the Solar Choice supporters must collect more than 683,000 valid voter signatures by February. So far, they've collected about 100,000. And that was like a couple weeks ago.
Gosh.
If enough voters support the measure, it would be on the November 2016 general ballot, where it must receive at least 60% of the vote. Obviously, that's the rules for passing an amendment. So let's see what you have to say. I've given you the rough sketch version of this. Let's go to the phones, and
this is the
I'm
topic.
anxious to hear what you have to say. Good morning. What do you think?
Well, I understand that to sell power commercially, it's a technical regulation involving the National Bureau of Standards. The voltage can't deviate by more than a couple of volts, and cycles per second can't deviate by more than a couple of cycles. In other words, your power that comes out of your wall is 117 volts RMS at 60 cycles, and that voltage can't deviate by more than a little bit, or else the power company is not in compliance with the National Bureau of Standards. And it also messes up computers if it gets to be too spiky. So that's, I guess, part of the regulation. And, this would be the case with a large solar array that if the power company is forced to buy power from this large solar array, even though it doesn't meet the National Bureau of Standards, it becomes a problem.
Okay, so what you're saying is
that's the technical end of it.
Okay, so I'm trying to read between the lines of what you're saying. So what you're saying is that the power companies are more professional at this. The amateurs would be us with our solar cells on our roofs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you might, because you don't quite know exactly what you're doing. You
Right.
might be supplying 130 volts. You might be only supplying 100 volts. Your cycles per second could be anywhere from 50 to 70. And that messes up some things.
So then why are we allowed to use generators?
Exactly.
A generator spins at 1800 RPM, gives you a perfect 60 cycle.
Okay, so in other words, a generator is more dependable than solar.
Yeah.
So we can't invent a solar producing thing?
Generator, yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that yet? We don't...
There are ways to regulate solar, in the small arrays that a person could put up to do his own house. You can regulate it pretty close, but when you're putting up a large array, you have to do a lot of things. You can't just set solar panels in a field and then say,
So is 2 megawatts considered...
power you got to buy from me.
Is 2 megawatts considered small or large?
2 megawatts is a whole bunch of power. That's you're pretty close to what Crystal River is doing.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it would be a large amount of solar panels. You'd cover
Okay.
2 or 3 acres with that.
All right. Wow. Thanks for the insight, Jim. Appreciate the call.
Okay, doke.
Well,
Wow.
this is-
Bye.
Well, that does put a different spin on it. I mean, that gives you a different light. I can't
Yeah,
wait till the
but-
water turns back on. I'm used to drinking something all morning long.
I know. But, the government, all the politicians, they're going for green, they're going for energy efficiencies. They even have a place on your tax returns that you can take credit if you buy solar and stuff
Okay,
like
so
that.
let me see
and
if
now
I.
they're flip-flopping.
But wait a minute. Let me see if I understand this. So the opposing group.
Consumers for...
Where's the
Smart
opposing
solar.
group? Yeah, the Floridians for Solar Choice.
Oh, okay. They're the ones that want to regulate the 2 megawatts or
Hold on. So yeah, Floridians for Solar Choice want the 2 megawatts. Consumers for Smart Solar. That's the other group. They are advancing an opposing amendment that would codify. What does codify mean, Robin? I'm trying to.
solidify to get it together.
The existing practice of allowing consumers to install solar units, but only allow sales through regulated utilities. Okay. Well, I think I'm on that side of the argument then. I think Jim's information just helped me switch sides here.
So we buy it from the...
Anybody
from, like, City
anybody
of
have anything
Ocala
to say about this?
Utilities
What do you think about this?
and
This
not
whole-
Sears.
All right, what else do I have here on this subject?
This is fascinating. This is something that's going to
and I think
affect us all.
I think as voters, and somebody comes up to you with a clipboard and says, "Would you sign this?" You don't go, "Yeah, I'm going to put my signature on it because you're making a good point." But I don't know enough about it.
Exactly.
So Jim just enlightened us enough to make me say, "Okay, well now I'm switching sides," because at first I was on the side of these folks. Although Jim's voice did ring in my brain because he's the guy who taught me that changing things with amendments is not always a smart way to do it. But
Yeah.
But that aside, I just was trying to think if this was a smart thing. Less than 1% of the state's power is generated from solar sources. Well, that's now. That could change. Only 6,600 of the 9 million electricity customers in the state get some of their power from solar sources.
Yeah, because they've taken advantage of the tax credits. They outfit their places with solar, and your brother does. Your brother Bill, he's got solar and
No.
to heat his pool.
Yeah, not really though. He doesn't have
Yeah.
solar cells.
No.
Let me just explain for the listeners.
No.
What my brother Bill does to heat his swimming pool is he has a black hose that snakes across the roof above his swimming pool.
Yes.
And the pump that pushes the water through it. That's all it is. So the hose is exposed to the sun, and by the time it snakes its way across the roof, it warms up a few degrees because of the sun.
Yeah, very smart.
That is
very
a smart idea.
ingenious.
All right, good morning. You're on the air. What do you think of this?
Good morning, Larry Robin. It's a funny item to get into, simply because if you're generating electricity and you sell it to somebody, number one, if you're doing it, every time I've been involved with it, you had to have no power coming in from the main utility. And that can be either the utility is not producing the power, or you have what they call a transfer switch. And usually you can have one that's manual or what they call an automatic transfer switch. The other thing is the utilities today, believe it or not, have very sensitive electronic devices attached to the transmission lines and to various components used to get you the electricity to your home. And depending on how transformers and things are wired, you could damage a lot of this stuff if you happen to backfeed onto the power that the utility is generating.
Yeah, it sounds like you're making a similar. Well, you're on the same side. It sounds as Jim, and I'm on that side now too, because it'd be.
Well, I lived in places where you look cross-eyed at the pole and the power goes out.
right.
And,
Yeah, that's called Green Acres.
I've had generators and I've set them up, and it depends on how the generator is wired, etc. But you don't want to backfeed onto any of the
All right. Once again, I learned from my listeners. Thank you, Sonny. We're up against the clock. Good information. We'll be right back.
Attic Mall Studios. This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A mass shooting at a movie theater in Louisiana leaves 3 people dead, including the gunman, and 9 hurt.
They were shot actually underneath the chairs and the seats and scared to come out until our medics were able to get to them.
Clay Henry with Acadian Ambulance in Lafayette, Louisiana. Unclear what the motive was.
Police say that the gunman purchased a ticket and then walked into that theater, sat down, and started watching the movie Trainwreck at about 7:10 last night. The first calls about the shooting came in at 7:30.
Fox's Casey Stiegel. The president briefed on the shooting while traveling on board Air Force One. He arrives in Kenya today, the country of his late father. The president will attend a business summit and meetings with his Kenyan counterpart. And for flyers, there are reports of delays from a power outage at New York's LaGuardia Airport. Fox News. We report, you decide.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation.